Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, it's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another episode of Foxborough Central. You heard the man. I am Bob Hickey, and I thank you for taking the time to join with me and my guests as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. And one of the things that I hope we think about when we think about Foxborough and what makes us special is our annual Founders Day. And you know, some people truly don't understand the work that goes into Founders Day. Many people do. But even those of us who do, learn a lot every time we think about it. And I've learned a lot over the last few months. I'm sure you've read in the Foxborough Reporter, there's been a plea out there. Cindy and Steve Drew and Cindy Haddad, they have both been so key as far as leading that fine organization for many, many years. And frankly, they put out the call, said, look, we need to get some people out here. So we invited in a few friends to share the story, share the tale of Founders Day, and see if we couldn't pique your interest. To my right is Kristen Gustafson. Kristen, it's great seeing you again.
Hey, Bob.
Been on my show before.
Yes, I have.
I recognize you.
Thank you.
Another person who's been a frequent flyer here, Steve Uden. How you doing? And my new best friend, Scott Uden. How are you doing, sir? So we are here to talk about Founders Day. And this coming year, we're going to skip right to the end. We're going to give you the good stuff now, if we can get it all together and if we can get enough people to come out and help out with Founders Day, both on the committee and day of. Founders Day this coming year is going to be on June 10th, 2017. So set that in your calendar right now. Make yourself a note. I don't know what you have to do, but that's the day you're going to want to be here. But to get to that point, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. As we sit here without even winter starting, Founders Day is already in high drive as far as the committee getting together. In fact, before taping here, they were meeting in the other room. So I know that they're working hard. Let's talk about the hard work and why they need to do it. Steve Uden, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Why are we here?
We need members, Bob. We were just, as you said, in the green room, and we were talking about sort of an interesting phenomenon that happened to us on the Founders Day Committee probably about 2 months ago, is a core group of very active people on Founders Day Committee realized that we were losing about 3 or 4 people. And in that moment, we almost as a group collectively realized we didn't know how tired we were and how much work goes into putting it on, and that we need to fill the pipeline with committed members. So we decided to, at least in 2017, and unless we get a membership group tight enough for us to put the whole Founders Day on, that we're likely this year to only be able to provide the fireworks, and with no promises after that until we really figure out what kind of numbers we get.
I see. So the real issue here is one of manpower, because the town typically comes into I don't want to say a relationship of where it all works itself out, but at least from our perspective, from a consumer standpoint, we have a great time. The nonprofit organizations show up at the field. Everything is organized. The electricity magically appears. The food permits magically happen. The police details magically show up. The day is magically wonderful, right? Always. And then the bands are magically there, and the parade magically happens, and Foxborough Cable Access, we have this on the air, and it all just comes together, and then the fireworks. But there's so much more that goes into it other than just a simple boot drive to raise money for the Founders Day Fireworks Committee.
Yeah, and if I could just add one quick thing, and I think Scott and Kristen, we all share this. The Founders Day Committee doesn't do this for a pat on the back or a picture in the paper. It's a gift. We're giving it to the town, we're giving our time, and so we're not ungrateful and we're not mad. It's just that we're in sort of a call to action for help for people with younger children that might be able to stay around for a few years to help us out.
Great point.
And keep it going.
Great point. So, Kristen, what I'm going to ask you is then, you've been on the committee for a little while now, and so what are some of the things that make you want to do it, and what are some things that we would be offering to others and make them want to volunteer and be on this committee?
Well, first I want to say thank you again for having us on your show. It really is really important for us to get the word out. And I think I just want to reiterate one thing before I answer your question, is that we really want to rebuild and rejuvenate this wonderful committee that does this awesome celebration. And what do I really love about Founders Day, the committee, and I love that we have a bank of people that come from different aspects of Foxborough, different walks of life, and then they come in and they have all these awesome ideas, and they give their time and energy, and they really love their town. And when you sit next to someone that really loves their town, you really love your town. And you remember, hey, I'm really lucky. I live in a great town. What a great place. And it's a place where we can really talk openly and have discussions, and we vote on things, and it's a real it's a level of commitment that people give. It's really awesome.
And I've always said that Foxborough is built on the back of her volunteers, and Founders Day is one of those very up in front examples of that. So Scott, you're a businessman around town, a realtor, and this is now your thing. How did you get involved?
Cindy invited me to a meeting, and
You made eye contact. That's the last thing.
as Lauren calls it, I was voluntold.
You were
Voluntold. I love
That
that.
happened, but yeah, we had a great outpouring of volunteerism at the election. We also did some outreach on social media, our own website and Facebook, all the normal ones you would go to, and we've had a great response. So we're looking at hopefully keeping this thing going. We're not out of the woods yet. I think that's and the theme was the same. People that came up to our table at the election, I can't believe this is happening. We want Founders Day to keep going. Where do I sign up? So that was just that felt real good to me.
Scott had someone call him, a woman. Remember the lady in the town, the older lady that called you and left this message? She was really upset, and she was worried about Founders Day.
She was kind of in tears. She said, I don't like what I'm
tears.
reading in the Foxborough Reporter. What's going on here? And I had to call her and kind of talk her off the ledge.
Well,
it
but
was
that's
really
that's
big
a
deal.
great conversation point in that this is a real issue, because you'll see it in many of the nonprofit organizations, the community groups, the civic organizations, where membership has fallen a bit, and there are many reasons. There's so many more competing interests. It's a changing landscape as far as what we do with our kids and how we treat their free time, and it's also a changing landscape as far as what kind of free time we have with work and hours being changed and shifts not being necessarily the most conducive to 8 to 4 and then spending your volunteer time. So many of us who have volunteered in different ways, and by the way, Foxborough Cable Access is made up of volunteers as well. It is a changing landscape, and so how do you keep it fresh? How do you make it something that's attractive? And part of it is all just asking, because Steve, I'm sure you've always done anything I've asked of you and done things, and when it comes time for tasks to be done, school committee or whatever, you've always stepped up to the plate. So what are you asking people here to do?
Sign up and commit. But to your point, and to the woman that called Scott, one of the things at Founders Day in our board right now and our committee is that we're not panicking. We're of the belief that the right people will come at the right time for the right things. And Scott can talk to the purpose of Founders Day as it relates to NPOs and community involvement and fundraising and those sorts of things. That's where he's got the intelligence I'll never have. But but
you heard it here first. Foxborough Central.
That's really what we're trying to do. Is we're not panicking, and we don't want folks at home to panic, but we're also serving it up hot, as they say. And what's going on is true. We just are optimistic, I don't think falsely, that we'll get the right people at the right time. And to quote Kristen, rejuvenate our committee.
Well, rejuvenating is a perfect way of looking at it. And you're being proactive. You're not waiting until the panic button needs to be hit. You're taking a business approach, and you're looking at it and saying, you know what, we need some additional support. So what kind of support do we need, Kristen?
Well, again, I just want to reiterate that this isn't just for this year. This is just for the entire history to come of Founders Day. So this is where we're trying to build a pipeline. I kind of took your word, if you don't mind, to help keep Founders Day going. Specifically, what do we need? We have about 12 or 14 members right now. That's committee members. that is not enough to do the things that we need to do. Whether it be when we do the boot drive, we need people at the stations of the common. Right. We can't have the same people for 6 hours doing that. Just not like possible. We need the field. We need at least 10 people to help out. That's just like the day of, and that doesn't mean 10 people. Usually 10 people can do like a couple things. So we really need double that. We're just trying to give you an estimate. Mm-hmm. We need people for Saturday, all hands on deck. It could mean like 50 people actually, from holding banners, or that's for the parade. For the cow chip bingo, the parade. We need judges. Mm-hmm. Fireworks. We usually need 10 people just to help out with the fireworks. Mm-hmm. This thing starts at 6:30 in the morning. It goes until 11 o'clock at night. So that's, if we have enough people just to spend a couple hours, then no one will get tired. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny.
And they'll be able to come back the next day and clean up, right? Because that's the best part.
That's the fun part.
We can shift it. We can do it in shifts. That's the beauty of it.
And we can do this.
But when we talked to Barrett Deneau for the reporter,
right.
He asked us, do you guys have a big party afterwards? And I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and no, we haven't. And we're very willing to do this.
Yeah, let's make it fun.
If it's 12 people there for the setup all day on Friday, and we get up early in the morning, you get your parade marshals, you set up for the parade floats, we're over at the field setting up the field, and then you get the fireworks, and then we all show up at rakes the next day afterwards. Like, well, we're too darn tired to have a party.
I know, really.
If we had 40 people, then yeah, it's going to be a good party. But if we have 14 people, it's just, let me out of here. Let's go home and go to bed. It's a labor of love. We love doing it, but yeah, we're tired.
So it sounds like we've got a lot of great ideas and a lot of great ways to
Absolutely.
Bring people in and get them interested. So we're going to give you some nuts and bolts right now. Please feel free to jump in if I get something wrong here. But the Foxborough Founders Day Committee, Founders Day this year coming up is June 10th, 2017. But the planning is already started, and the big kickoff event, the time when it is going to be, hey, volunteers, come on down. That's going to be January 3rd, 2017. Yes. Do we have a location yet, or just put January 3rd?
It's TBA. We're going to send out an email splash and get everybody involved. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be
excellent,
very informative.
Excellent.
But usually our meetings, we're going to do a kickoff, but usually our meetings, are you familiar with where our meetings are?
I am not. I hope you'll tell me.
Usually our meetings are on a Tuesday, once a month, at the Church of Emmanuel on Central Street. Everybody knows where that is, right down the street from where we are right now.
Right down the street from 28 Central Street, which is where Foxborough Central comes.
And we meet for an hour, really. It's just an hour of your time, and then when we get closer to Founders Day, we meet every Tuesday. So just to do all the prep work.
Sure. So, and you've been doing this for how many years?
Let's see. This will be like my 3rd year.
Fantastic. And how many years have you been doing this, Steve?
It's a blur.
And Scott?
4 years.
All right. So we have a seasoned group here that is telling you, good citizens of Foxborough, that it's not heavy lifting. And even if it was, many hands make for light work. So come on down to a place to be determined on January 3rd, 2017. The holidays will be over. You'll need to work off all the good holiday cheer that you've had.
Gravy.
And it'll be
gravy.
Everybody loves gravy. And it'll be time for you to get to work and be thinking spring in the middle of winter. So we're here with Steve Uden and Scott O'Donnell and Kristen Gustafson with the Foxborough Founders Day Committee. The first meeting is going to be January 3rd, 2007. Now, you can either put this in your calendar right now, or you can get a hold of them and get put on their list by going to your email account and typing in Foxborough Founders Day, it's right on your screen also, @gmail.com, and say, hey, I want to volunteer. And I'm sure they'll send you a note. Or if you want additional information, you can call Cindy Haddad-Drew, who's also our next door neighbor here at Cindy's Jewelry Shop at 508-954-8710. Or you can call my new best friend, Scott O'Donnell, right over here at 617-894-9500. So that's all the information, the nuts and bolts. But now we're going to talk about the real work. Bum, bum, bum. And I noticed that you did not mention my favorite event.
Oh, let me think. What is that? The fireworks?
The doll carriage and
I know, just teasing you. Yeah, that is the best. We have so much fun, don't we?
Absolutely, we do.
High five.
It's good stuff. And because it's such good stuff, it would be a shame to see the past. And the thing here is, and the reason I mention that is because you've also got basketball and the inline skating. You've got the cow chip bingo. You've got all the nonprofits. You've got the helicopters that usually come in.
The controlled burn.
National Guard usually brings out the climbing wall. There's the fireworks. You've got the bands. Galley Dogs usually plays at night.
Oh my gosh, the
You've got
bands.
so many
Yes.
really cool and interesting things that happen. Not to mention the parade and live coverage here in Foxborough Cable Access for the folks who don't live in town.
You know, yourself, Bob Hickey.
Oh, me? Oh, that's right. Well, maybe you'll join me this year.
Yeah.
I hope so. So all of these things go into the pie. And it's also the weekend that many of the reunions happen. It's also the weekend that many families get together and schedule their year around Founders Day. So, you know, it's one of those really cool things that makes Foxborough really special. And it's one of my favorite days of the year. So let's get involved. And I'm going to now ask Scott, if somebody comes in and says, I don't know what to do, there's nothing I can do, I can't do anything, what would you say to that?
Well, like I said before, there's no heavy lifting. We have a place for you. Whether you want to be on the committee and show up monthly, and then when we get closer to the Founders Day, it's weekly. Or if you just want to be a marshal in the parade, I mean, that takes an hour. You walk with make sure the kids don't run out in the street, and you walk down the road, and that's great. You can help us set up day of. You can help us set up day of before. Fundraising is something near and dear to my heart that we do a lot of.
Okay.
We're still relying on our corporate donors, and that's a big help to us.
Bring us your ideas,
businesses,
right?
and bring us your ideas, yeah.
Well, that's
If
the
you
thing
just
with
come
new
in with
volunteers,
ideas,
there's
that's
always
great,
new
yeah.
ideas, right?
Yeah, we need some fresh faces
Good.
at this point.
So fresh faces, Steve. And I see that you've got a lot of writing in green, and I've always known you to be a well thought out person with notes, and your notes are usually something worth listening to. I'm going to give you the floor right now.
Well, first of all, I do want Scott to elaborate, if we can, before the end of the show about the value of the nonprofit organizations and Founders Day and how they intermingle. But to Kristen's point, the doll carriage parade. That comes, it goes very well, and we have a great time. One of the ideas we had a couple of months ago was to introduce bicycles to it. Okay, so maybe we could have a little older child going to it. But it became an issue of who do we have to help us wrangle cyclists while we're watching cute children with carriages and little red wagons decorated. Okay, so one of the people on our board is so good at this, and I won't mention his name, but we know who I'm talking about. But what happens is, and the good thing about Founders Day, and what actually makes it fun, because it's only about an hour-long meeting, okay? But the ideas flow of like butterflies. And then we have this one person who's really smart on the board that catches the right butterflies and says, this is all we need to do and it will be terrific. And puts them down, and then we let them out that way. So we have a million ideas, and they're all good. And some might be for next year, or some might be a non-starter, okay? But like the bike is a perfect example. We can do that if we have a couple of more people that can be there at, I'm making a time up, 10 o'clock or noon for the bikes. But back to the NPOs, I think Scott can really elaborate on the importance of that and how they contribute to our community.
NPOs.
Nonprofit organizations. I mean, we can do fireworks maybe every year and raise enough to do fireworks. It doesn't take that many volunteers, and that's what everybody talks about when they think of Founders Day. It's the first thing you think of, let's admit it. I mean, the parade is fun, and it's great. But one thing that goes unnoticed, and we have a great field day, but this is an opportunity for all our nonprofits, our churches, our local sports teams, Boy Scouts. I don't want to name anybody specifically, but it's a huge fundraiser for a lot of these people that put up tents at Founders Day. And I think that's kind of the core of it, and it's one of the things that goes unnoticed. And it's one of the biggest fundraisers for a lot of these nonprofit organizations. And if we're just going to have fireworks, then it's really not Foxborough, you know what I mean? It's not like what we should be doing.
I think
and we do this for a reason. I mean, we have the parade and we have the fireworks, but what's in the middle is the meat of it.
And I would absolutely agree. That's what makes it the special day. Is that's the day when all of the Foxborough community gathers to support the nonprofit organizations.
Right. Amen.
And many of
That's
them
what it's about.
do depend upon that day. But more than that, it gives them exposure. It gives them an opportunity
well,
to strut their stuff, shine a little, and really allows us to reconnect with our neighbors.
Sure.
So, Kristen, you have a unique perspective in that you've not only been doing this, but you're also put yourself out there as the doll carriage organizer. What are some of the things that you would like everybody
Steve
to know?
wanted the job, but
No, Kathy Brady, fought me for it.
Kathy's
Just
done a
kidding,
great
Kathy.
She's done a great job with that.
I was just teasing her.
Shout out to Kathy Brady.
Her head's like on fire right now. No, so what was your question again? Say it again.
I just want you.
Sorry.
Well, let me put it. What would you like us to know?
I'd like you to know that this is a really awesome committee, and I'm really thankful to be a part of it. But I think if we can get some young blood, new blood, old blood, any blood,
We're out for blood.
Out for blood.
We're out for
No,
blood.
we're not out for blood.
So here's your selling point for the Foxborough Founders Day committee.
Stop it.
We're out for
All right.
blood.
No, really, just if we could please get some help, a commitment, a real commitment, whether, and just know what you can do. Just come to our meeting. You are going to love us because we're really good people and we really love this town. And I'm sure you love this town really a lot too.
Well, actually, that's well said, because for those of you who are watching, you're watching a volunteer organization. We're bringing this information to you, but what they're doing is 10 times more difficult in that not only are they bringing a day to you, but they're organizing it, encouraging everybody to get together. There's a business component to it. There's certainly a community involvement component, and then there's a logistics component, and as well as working it with the different government organizations to arrange and cordon off and close streets. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes on there. So if you want to be part of the magic that is Foxborough Founders Day, I encourage you to come out on January 3rd, 2017. It's not going to snow that day. The roads are going to be fine. They'll be freshly salted. Life is good. Come on out and have some fun with it. And if you want to find out more information, make sure you get on their list. We're running out of time, so I'm going to give the last word over here to these folks. But you're going to want to contact either Scott O'Donnell at 617-894-9500 or Cindy Haddad-Drew at 508-954-8710, or email the committee at foxboroughfoundersday@gmail.com. We're going to go around the table, give last word. Steve.
Well, the date that we've just been thrown out, January 3rd, is there. But if we have to flex and have a couple more of those, I'm sure we will. And backing up to about 3 minutes ago, the banter you saw and the chuckles we were having, all being serious about this show and our message, is actually a perfect snapshot of how a Founders Day meeting goes. It's very good. It gets a little levity, and then it comes right back down into a sobriety where we get things done in the end. And sometimes, if you're on the committee, all you have to be is that person that's the guy that knows a guy, because we know what we have to roll out. And other people, you might want to, just organize the media relations or something else. So there's a million things to do, and it's not like a part-time job. It's just not.
Good. Scott.
Everybody knows how to do something. Everybody knows 10 businesses and 10 people that are willing to volunteer. Everybody on the committee, when we have the committee at the size that we want it to be, everybody knows 10 sponsors that are willing to give X number of dollars or put up a sign. Everybody knows 10 people that will volunteer day of, day before, day after. So the bigger our committee is, the more ideas, the more help we get, the easier it is, the more fun it is, and that's just going to propel us into the next stage where we have to be if this is going to happen. And I don't want to end on a bad note, but there is a real threat here right now that this might not happen still. So, I mean, we do have a lot of volunteers. We're not out of the woods yet, and it's serious. If people want Founders Day to continue, we have to do this.
Scott has laid it out, and Chris will bring it home.
Be a part of this awesome day. Be a part of this committee. Open your heart, open your mind. Know that we need your help. This is a call for help, and we need people. And please come, because it's so much fun.
So no panic button. Founders Day is going to happen because people are going to step up. Why? Because we've always found that people step up when asked, and so consider yourself asked, Foxborough. Come on out on January 3rd, 2017. You know how to get in touch with them. If not, you can always replay this by going to www.fcatv.org. Click on the button for Foxborough Central, and you'll find this or any of the other past episodes. Folks, I want to thank you all for coming out and sharing the story of Foxborough Founders Day.
I think
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks to the team behind the scenes.
Thank you.
here.
Absolutely. It's a tremendous story, it's a tremendous day, and it's a tremendous effort, but many hands make for light work, and we hope everybody will come out and be a part of it. Until next time, folks, or until I see you June 10th, 2017 at Founders Day, Have a great day, Foxborough. I'm Bob Hickey. Take care.